Welcome back to the Stoop Football Fans. It's your boy Lolo, and no, we're not actually back on the Stoop. Yes, I am still on holiday, but look at me working for you guys. Last season, the first video that we did, I don't know, it changed everything for us because we did a little video called "Who the Hell Are Leeds United?" If I'm new to the Premier League, I'm new to football, I'm choosing a team, why should I choose Leeds United to be my team?
Okay, my response would be this. You don't choose Leeds United. Leeds United chooses you. That's it.
That video not only changed our knowledge, first of all, of a club that Mark and I had never watched because for many reasons, but it also changed our fan base because our fan base was overrun with Leeds United fans, and we love you guys so much. And I know as much as you guys don't want to hear about other clubs, y'all are still watching this show, and we love you for that. So Mark and I decided, of course, we got to do it again. And this season, we have 3 new teams coming back. We have Norwich, we have Watford, but we kind of already know about them. They've been kind of these yo-yo teams, not to offend anybody too much. But the one club both Mark and I have no clue about is a little club called Brentford FC. It's been about 75 years or so since they've been back, or since they've been in the top flight. It wasn't the Premier League 75 years ago. So I just know these guys are buzzing, pun intended, I guess. The bees are buzzing to get this season kicked off. So let me bring in Mr. Mark himself. What's going on, Mark? Sorry I'm not back on the Stoop, and I'm sorry that it's like 7 a.m. for you, and I really appreciate your dedication, man.
This is dedication for you. I tell you, it's like, who the hell is it Brentford, Brentley? I don't know. It's Brentford.
Shit, you don't even know the name.
It's Brentford. I know it's the Bees, and we've got Bees and Hornets coming up from relegation.
And whatever the Canaries, I think, are Norwich.
They're the Canaries, but
bunch of flying bastards.
I'm going to try and not get things wrong with Brentford the way I did when I first learned about Watford, because I look at their badge, I look at their emblem, and it has that kind of moose looking thing.
Yeah,
and
Watford likes to confuse you.
I was like, and he asked me, he's like, hey, do you know about Watford? And I was like, yeah, they're the moose. And he's like, moose? There's no moose in England. And I said, that's because you killed them all.
Well,
I know they're the Bees. I know they haven't been up in a long time. And
Mark,
I'm excited to learn about them.
Mark, we're in for a treat today. I've been scouring the Twitterverse and the internet, and I actually found this young dude. I believe he's in Chiswick, or as we would say, Chiswick, or something terrible, some terrible version of it.
This morning.
You haven't had time for breakfast. Don't lie.
No, I haven't. All I have is had time for this lovely cup of coffee.
Me too, and I'm covering it because it has a whole bunch of cartoon logos that we don't have rights for. Anyway, this dude started like a fan internet magazine thing called the Essential Brentford, and him and his buddy started it, and now he runs kind of the official, unofficial Twitter update sort of thing. I'll let him tell us all about it. Let's have him tell us all about it. So all the Stoop crew who's in the house watching this video, in the comments already, Stoop crew, give a big warm welcome to Mr. Jonah Brentford, as we're going to refer to him from now on. Jonah Brentford, what's going on, man?
Good afternoon, Lolo. Good morning, Mark. Sorry to get you out of bed so early.
It's all right. I had to do a show.
You're looking fresh, so.
So listen, man, we want to learn about your club. We're not here to try and take the piss out of you or your club or anything like that, because we don't know enough to do so. Later in the season, we will definitely talk a lot of shit to you. But right now, we need to be educated a little bit before we can make the clever, witty jokes that Mark and I go for. So are you ready? Let's just dive into some questions. You
Straight
cool?
into it. Let's go. Yeah.
All right, cool. So how would you describe your club, the way you play, your fan base, that sort of thing? Would it be fiery and knee knocking, or like gut punching, or what is a way that you would describe your club?
I would describe my club as punching well above their weight and forward thinking. The new owner came in time of crisis, brought with him all sorts of new methods, ways of approaching the sport, much like you have across many of your sports in the States, and turned around the fortunes of Brentford Football Club. And as a result, the relationship between the owner and the fans is, I would say, almost completely removed from any other football club in the country. I mean, we love Matthew Benham. He saved our club from almost going extinct and took us within a short time span to the greatest division of football that exists on this planet.
Yeah. So you told me a little bit about this before, but I know Mark has no clue about this, especially. But explain to us what you mean by that, by nearly bringing your club was nearly in extinction. How does one person or one group actually pull you guys out, and why is there that connection with the fans?
Sure. So Brentford is a football club that, and I'm sure this goes for lots of football clubs across the country, is so rooted in the community. And when was it? 15, 16 years ago, this rooting in the community, the effect of it sort of became transparent for the first time when an owner who wasn't supplying funding to the club in the right way, if at all, and who was not putting the club's best interests first, sort of put the club in a position of real crisis. The fallout was Brentford nearly dropping out of the Football League, so the English League Two, as it's now called, and the fans basically grouping together to source funds, as has happened with various clubs recently. Look at Bury, AFC Wimbledon similarly a little bit longer ago, and they bought the club out from under this very unpopular chairman. And in order to not only own the club, but to be able to take Brentford back to where they belonged, which at that point the fans probably would have said was mid-table League One, because it's where we were for a long time, which is the third division. They borrowed some money from lifelong Brentford fan Matthew Benham. Now, this guy's really interesting. He was a City banker and made a lot of money going through the motions. I mean, we all know the money that's involved in those sorts of jobs. And then there came a point where he was able to go out on his own, and he started what I understand is a gambling. I mean, the word's not quite coming to me, but a gambling group that provide very specific stats and statistics around football and other sports that weren't necessarily provided by the other bookmakers. And this next company went from strength to strength as well. A year or so, a couple of years later, Matthew Benham goes to the Brentford fans and says, look, the condition upon which I lent you the money to take Brentford back to where they belong was that if you can't pay it back, or you choose not to pay it back, I will take ownership of the football club that I love. And whilst it's a shame that football clubs shouldn't be run, controlled, owned, the possession of its community, Matthew Benham taking over the club at that point was, in modern history, the best thing that ever happened to Brentford Football Club.
Wow.
They were about to sell their stadium to Queen's Park Rangers, who are the big local rivals. I mean, who's to say how far the club would have fallen? And in my short lifetime, I'm only 24. I've had a season ticket for about 15 years. They've gone from near relegation from the Football League to the promised land this season.
Jesus,
This
man. So
story is
you
absolutely crazy here. It
Yeah.
sounds like you guys went to a loan shark and, groveled. You say, "Oh, please, Godfather," and the Godfather says, "Hey, man, one day you're gonna owe me a favor."
or not even. It
'Cause
seems
that's
like
really, it sounds like what you've done.
it seems more like the Godfather came over and goes, "So I see you having some money troubles. I'm gonna help you out." But he turns out that he's actually a good guy. It seems like for now.
I don't know much. I know you're the bees, and I know a little. I've been watching for a couple of years, as far as like the standings in here and there, and I know that the season before, you guys were in a playoff situation and you played your rival in Fulham, and you guys lose in kind of dubious
Yeah,
circumstances.
come on.
But
Hit him where it
then-
hurts, Mark. Hit him where it hurts.
But then, so you go from this really kind of low, and then suddenly, boom, first time in your entire fandom and in your entire life, you've made it to the big league. What was that kind of roller coaster of emotion for you? What was that like?
The Fulham game, as painful as it is to be reminded of it, and not just that it happened, but the manner in which it happened, the late goals after a tetchy game. What a blessing. Looking back with lockdown and the absence of fans from stadiums, what a blessing in disguise that was. We got promoted at just the perfect time. I don't enjoy talking about it, but the money in football has never been like it is now. Brentford have joined the most economically helpful era in English football. They have joined the Premier League at a time in which they can fill their stadium week after week. They joined the Premier League a season after they built this. I mean, it divides opinion, but I love the new stadium. I don't know if you guys have seen pictures of it. The seating is red and green and yellow and like a browny purple. And I went on a sort of press tour of the ground, sort of. Was it before any games were ever played there? I think it was. I think it was before the stadium opened. And one of the press officers said to me, "Yeah, the seats are like that so that if the stadium isn't full, it looks more full than it is." And I made the mistake of recounting this to my Fulham fans and friends, and all the bloody Chelsea fans that live around me. And obviously they were like,
"We don't have that problem."
Yeah, you're not going to fill the stadium. What a tin pot club. And the fallout is that they've more than doubled their season ticket and membership sales for next season. And it looks like the stadium might be full for every game.
Speaking of all of that, week 1.
Come on.
Arsenal, my club,
come on, Lolo,
is going to check out that new stadium. And I'm just thinking, like, look, week 1, we have Brentford, and then we go to like Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. Like, we have this rough string of matches. Not that I'm saying Arsenal is looking past you guys, but it's super possible that in their minds, they're a little bit more focused on the first 4 weeks as a chunk, as opposed to looking at your club and really dissecting, because for us, it's okay, new season. Who are we? Let's go. Who are these new players? Who are these new? Who's going to be healthy? And for you guys, you're going, motherfuckers, we're here. We have a brand new stadium. There's fucking television cameras in 4K, HD, 3D. Like, you guys, your players and your fan base are going to be so pumped that if Arsenal doesn't score in like the first 10 minutes and calm everybody down, I know my club. I know what we can do on the good side, and I know what we can do when we get outplayed mentally. And so I got to say, I'm not looking past you guys.
I can't wait. I've had Arsenal fans texting me ever since the schedule came out saying, please get me a ticket. Please get me a ticket. Please get me a ticket. Lads, if you're watching. No.
Good.
Yeah.
You're gonna fit right in on the Stoop.
You know, I got to tell you, you know, the league did you a favor by you know, giving you your first home game of the season on your debut to the Premier League. You know, and
do you know there's this really weird sequence of fixture schedules that Brentford have had for about the last 5 years, where we tend to get the fixture we want at the time we want it, if you know what I mean. So the first game of the season, the first one in the Championship, for example, when we got promoted, and bear in mind we hadn't been in the second division then for years and years and years, not even nearly my lifetime, was at home to a London club. Brilliant atmosphere. Prior to the Premier League, home to a London club. Cannot wait. What a great atmosphere that would be.
Let's leave that for a second, and I want to talk to you about your fan base. So what is something that would typify a Brentford fan? Are you like lunatics like the Leeds United fans are? Are you calm, cool, collective? Are you naysayers when your team does bad? Like I hate Philadelphia Eagle fans because for them, they're either the best team in the world or everyone needs to be fired. And it's like from one half to the next.
Yeah.
So what are you guys like?
Right.
Represent your fan base right now.
Brentford fans are super local. I mean, there's this beautiful thing with the previous stadium, Griffin Park, where you could not see the stadium unless you were stood right next to it. I mean, it was surrounded by terraced housing. I'm not talking tall buildings. I mean, little terraced houses.
Yeah.
And you could not see it unless you were right there. And it was proper, beautiful inner city stadium football. And the new stadium is similar. And just as Griffin Park was this center of the community that was really, really embedded in Brentford, I mean, figuratively and as literally as you could possibly imagine, the Brentford fan base is exactly the same. I come from Chiswick, for example. I've moved recently to Camden, so my commute is a bit longer now, but I come from Chiswick, and that's much longer, I would suggest, than most Brentford fans would travel to a game.
Oh, wow.
Like a bit of fighting talk. It's not like my Arsenal mates going to the Emirates and like having to get on 12 tubes and a bus. It's not like my Spurs mates going to White Hart Lane and having to get 3 buses and a helicopter.
Yeah.
I travel far and I live 10 minutes away. That's what Brentford's about. The other side of the Brentford fan, aside from that proximity, is, I would say, the humour is really nice. You talked about how the Philly Eagles are like, they're either this or they're that, and there's nothing in between. Brentford fans, on the whole, of course there are exceptions, find that middle ground quite nicely, I think. The relationship with QPR, as an example, is quite hostile, and the relationship with Fulham is less hostile and funny. It's just funny. And it can be funny because we keep beating them, except for that one game, Mark. We have to bring that up again. Except for that one game, we beat Fulham, and we have been beating Fulham a lot for about the last 4 years. So the chants that have come out of it, Fulham chants that have been turned on their head, so funny. Fulham had a chant when we were both in the Championship that went, "You're just a bus stop in Hounslow." And the brilliance of the way that Brentford turned that back on Fulham when we kept beating them is that Brentford's not a big place. I mean, I love Brentford, but they're not a huge football club. And like I said at the start, they're punching above their weight. Yeah. They're a really, 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 really good football team, and they're also a bus stop in Hounslow. That's why it's so great. And then the other Fulham one was, of course, Bees Up, Fulham Down. To the, do you guys know Knees Up, Mother Brown? Do you know the song? So
No.
it goes.
I'm gonna say no. Yeah.
I'm gonna get my karaoke out here. It goes. Bees up, Fulham down. Bees up, Fulham down. Bees up, bees up, bees up, bees up, bees up, Fulham down. And that chant lasted us about 4 years. Whether Fulham were rubbish in the Championship and we were good in the Championship, we were good in the Championship and Fulham were bad in the Premier League. It just kept.
It just kept working.
It kept working, and let me tell you, I still enjoy it.
So, Jonah, as you put it, your fan base is kind of hyper local, and you guys enjoy the fact that you're a local club with local supporters. But now that you're in the Premiership, you gone global, man. You're gonna get a bunch of American fans who don't even know where Brentford is. How are you guys gonna deal with that? Do you like it?
Do you know, Lolo, it's such a good question. That process started like
Immediately.
So soon after the playoff final win against Swansea. It starts with Twitter bios saying Spurs x Brentford, and that's when you're like,
wait a minute.
I mean, I'm one to talk. And my family team's Everton, but I've had a season ticket at Brentford for like 15, 16 years. So take it with a pinch of salt. So, and I'm guessing, I mean, I spoke to you guys already about how the uptake of memberships and season tickets has increased dramatically. It's up like well over 200%. Presumably, there are lots of people that live the other side of the river. We have a term in England that is popular on Twitter. You guys have probably seen it. Have you teleclappers? Have you heard of that? It's basically.
I'm not familiar with that team. Which league?
So it's basically a pretty derogatory term that describes people that watch football in front of the television but that don't go to the game. The insinuation being that if you don't
the entire U.S. audience.
Yeah.
The entire U.S. fandom were all teleclappers.
Yep.
And it's meant in a derogatory sense. What is different now is that lots of these people will start going to the stadium, and it's because they've been promoted and it's because they've got a bigger stadium. My view on it is brilliant. Fill the stadium up. I'm not a particularly vocal Brentford fan when I'm at the games, so who am I to begrudge a new fan coming to the stadium if they're going to make some noise? They make my experience better. They bring revenue to the club, to a club who, let's face it, in the league they're playing in, could probably do with some extra revenue. Yeah. I mean, all power to those people that start turning up to the games. I for one, welcome them with open arms.
What I want to know is what I can expect when I tune in to a Brentford match. You know, when I'm watching Brentford play in Arsenal on Friday, what sort of style am I looking for? What am I looking for what they do?
So we're talking current squad, not in your history, but right now. Mark wants to know right now.
What sort of style does Brentford play?
Real footy talk. Brentford move the ball quickly. They've been doing it for a long time. I know you're not interested in the history. It's part of the fabric of
We're
the
American,
club.
Man. We don't care about history.
Yeah, okay. Fair point. It's part of the fabric of the club now. They move the ball quickly. They are very good at making space for each other. They have this ethos that was developed under the manager, Thomas Frank, who is now universally popular, but for a long time wasn't, where they defend as a unit and they attack as a unit. So against Arsenal, for example, where you would expect Arsenal to have a lot of possession, expect Brentford to be moving up and back as a team. In possession, the centre-halves will be on the halfway line. The full-backs will be high and wide, regardless of whether they're playing 3 with wide wing-backs or 4 at the back. A lot of the attacking intent comes from left back, which will likely be Rico Henry, and the right back, who it might be a really young kid called Mads Rørslev, who's from Denmark, who in the last 6 months or so was turned into the sort of player that we need at this level. But there's a possibility they'll sign a replacement fullback before then. They always have a midfielder sit deep, which in this case will be Christian Norgard, who, if you guys watch the Euros, you'll be aware of him. He played a quite significant part for Denmark, essentially turning a back four into a back three with the wing backs going high, which allows their two creative midfielders, which is usually how many they play with, be it Mathias Jensen, who you'll have watched for Denmark, Vitaly Yarnelt, who has been playing as a holding midfielder, but was actually signed to be more creative, and who has a goal in him. Was it the Championship playoff semi-final against Bournemouth? Very weird goal, but a crazy finish where it sort of like hits him, but his left foot is just at the right angle that it goes up and beyond the Bournemouth goalkeeper. So he's got a lovely goal. And then Josh De Silva is off crutches, which is a huge bit of news for Brentford fans, because he is a 10 goal a season, 10 assist a season, box to box midfield player, can play off the left, can play off the right. Free signing from the Arsenal Academy, in fact, which was a huge oversight from Arsenal, because he is every inch a Premier League player. They play quick, attractive football with a real focus on solidity. It was defence, defence, defence first. And once they had that, last season, they took a step up in attack. In my opinion, this season just gone, with the inclusion of Ivan Toney, who, we don't need to talk about Ivan Toney. He scores goals. That's what he does.
He's in my fantasy team. He's in a lot of people's fantasy team.
He is in a lot of people's fantasy team. I'm holding out on making mine because I imagine there's a lot of business still to go.
We'll get there. So who would you say is the most important player on the pitch for you? Like, who should we keep an eye out on?
Sure. So the most important player on the pitch, easy question, Ivan Toney. He is the focal point of the attack. He's the one that scores the goals. I mean, he got, I think it was more than half of our goals last season, which is just a ridiculous return, especially for a side that got promoted. Who to watch out for? I think the 22-year-old French winger, Brian Mbermo, who we signed about 3 years ago from Troyes in the French second division. I think this is his season. He got 14 goals and a load of assists the season we lost to Fulham in the playoff final. A little bit more quiet last season, but I've been to a few of the pre-season games and he looks sharp as hell. He scored a great goal against United at Old Trafford the other day. And then who else to look out for?
Those are the players that I like to hear about, because in fantasy you could probably get them for like 4 million. Yeah, and then he'll have an assist every other game or something.
Yeah, sure. If Ivan Toney's what, like 6 million or something like that?
6.5, I think.
6.5. I reckon Mbemo might even be 5, and he gets goals and assists. The other one to look out for, we've just signed a centre half from Celtic, who we beat Newcastle to the signing of, apparently outbidding them, which shows how far Brentford have come, that they could outbid the size of Newcastle, albeit with the financial situation that has been well documented there.
And they were holding out for Joe Willock. They need to save some cash for Willock, which looks like it's going through.
That would be amazing for them. But we beat Newcastle to the signing of Christopher Ayer, who was a Norwegian centre-back from Celtic, who, if YouTube highlights are anything to go by, and they're definitely not, looks a real nice ball-carrying centre-half.
Very nice. Which is what you guys do, right? We're learning, Mark. We're learning a little bit about this club.
So it sounds like you guys are speaking of Brentford's success. Here you guys are. It's your first time back in the top tier in 70 some odd years. What are we gonna see? Are we gonna see a recreation of what happened with Leeds, where you have a very successful season and you put the rest of the league on notice? Are you going to struggle to stay up? Is this just are you going to end up being that yo-yo team and end back down next year? Where do you see your team?
You got to do better than Fulham.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do better than Fulham.
That was weird though, because that Fulham team looked good for a minute, didn't they?
Yeah.
No, they looked terrible. Weird. Every match I watched, they were awful.
Really?
Maybe you're better out of the bees. Damn it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So
you're asking for where are they going to finish?
Yeah.
That's what you're asking.
Sure.
Right.
So my practical mind approaches this very arithmetically, and I'm going Watford are rubbish. They're going down. I'm going Norwich haven't signed improvements.
They've lost people, if anything.
Yeah.
Wendy Cantwell's not good enough to keep them in the division. Norwich are going down. Can we beat one of Burnley, a very changed Palace side, although I think Palace look good. I like what they've done there, and I'm excited by Vieira.
Me too.
Can they, who else is going to be there? Brighton will probably be better, but if Brighton are down there again, I don't think it's about not finishing 20th and not finishing 19th. I think for Brentford, it's about can they beat Burnley? Can they beat Palace? Can they beat, I hate to say it, can they beat Wolves this season?
I'll throw it out there, Southampton.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, perfect example.
Their world completely changed 2 days ago.
Exactly. That's Mark, that's such a good example. Can they beat those 4 or 5 teams to 17th place? That's what Brentford fans are looking at. Don't expect Leeds, because Leeds were a Premier League team before they went up. They were a Premier League team about 18 months before they went up.
Yeah.
Not because they had the quality. They were a Premier League team 18 months before they went up because they had a manager who instilled a system that the players understood and that was effective not only in the Championship, but was transcribable to the Premier League. Mm-hmm. Brentford have a better team than Leeds had, but they don't have a better system. I don't think, and I'd love to be wrong. Leeds also signed quality in that window. Rafinha is such a good player. If Brentford have a couple of players that end up looking as good as Rafinha, then sure, why not 12th, 13th place? But give me 17th. Just give me 17th place.
So you're just hoping to stay up.
Yeah.
Just hoping to stay up.
That's got to be the goal. That's got to be the goal.
Fulham down. Fulham stay down. QPR.
So your official prediction is 17th place?
My official prediction is 15th.
All right, there you go. Up a few notches.
I think I've got that written down somewhere anyway. If I don't stick to what I said, I'm only going to get stick off my mates.
So give me your official prediction for Friday's match, opening first Premier League match ever, right? Ever. Opening up at home against the mighty Arsenal, the mightily confused Arsenal team that is out right now. I can give you my official prediction if you want first.
I'd like to hear yours, actually.
I'm Arsenal starting the season the same way we did last team. A newly promoted side. We played Fulham and we beat them very easily 3-0. And we thought we were going to have a great season, and it was all downhill from there. But I'm going with a strong showing. Aubameyang, captain, my captain. He gets on the score sheet because he needs it. But I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1 Arsenal.
Because I don't think our defense is sorted enough, and we kind of need that fire in our attack of, oh shit, they scored.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 2-1. I'm gonna give you guys a goal there, or you'll earn it. I'm not giving you shit.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say 2-1. It's an entertaining match, and we all go, okay.
Aubameyang twice.
Pepe and Aubameyang.
That is the ideal start for Arsenal, isn't it?
That would be perfect for me. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going Arsenal Arsenal will overlook Brentford like you thought they might. They'll look at City and they'll look at, you say Chelsea?
Chelsea, yeah.
And they will overlook Brentford, who historically start slowly, score, draw, 2 apiece.
2 apiece.
2 apiece,
Wow.
yeah. Ivan Toney off the mark early, and then I'd love to see Brian Mbemo get goals. I'd love to see Brian Mbemo get goals because he has the potential to really do something at this level. Ivan Toney, and then we'll see on Friday who's going to get that other one.
All right. Mark, do you have any skin in this game?
I know nothing about the Bees, but I do know they play at home, and I do know that they are going to be playing in an atmosphere that I think that they have never seen before. There's going to be so much excitement, so much passion, so many beers being spilt. I can't give like a definitive scoreline because I don't know anything about Brentford. I don't know who's your goal scorers. Other than
Yes, you do.
This Rico guy that sounds like the loan shark that that your team borrowed money from. But I'm going to predict a draw. This game will be a draw. Is it 1-1? Is it 0-0? I don't think it'll be 0-0. I'm going to go with the draw. And what the hell? I'll throw numbers at it, and I'll say 1-1.
Ah.
So
all right.
1-1 draw to kick your season off against a top 6 club at home. Passion.
Top 6.
Top 6 club. That's so generous.
Our big 6 against a big six club.
There you go.
Against a big 6 club, not a big sucks club, because this is a new season. But yeah, I'm gonna say that we have a draw.
All right.
I can see that.
All right. So last chance. Is there anything you want to say to Brentford fans, to the world? Anything for your club?
Brentford fans, welcome the new people you see around you. We're all locals. We're all in it together. Let's not have any of this bipartisan within the club nonsense that you see at Arsenal and these other places. You're all behind the team. Enjoy it, man. I'm so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am. Ever since I couldn't stop crying at the playoff semi-final, and then I couldn't stop crying at the playoff final, and I couldn't stop crying when I went to the first game at the new stadium, and I've lay in bed countless nights grinning at the ceiling. Please, God, just enjoy it while it's there. Come on, Brentford.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, from me, Mark, everybody on the Stoop, all of our Stoop crew, I hope to see lots of Brentford fans getting in here, writing in the comments. Tell us what you think of Jonah's interpretation of everything. Tell us what it means to you to be a Brentford fan. And if you're not a Brentford fan, tell us what it means for you to represent your club. Jonah, we learned from James last year. He always does his official sign off, which is Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Do you have any sort of
salute
Brentford type thing?
Bees up, Fulham down. Always.
There you go. Now give us a big. We'll do it with you. We'll do it with you. All right, or one at a time. You bees up, Fulham down. Not like that. That's Leeds. Wait. Bees up, Fulham down.
Yeah, that'll do. Why not?
Bees up, Fulham down.
Bees up, Fulham down.
Come on, Mark. Yes. Nice.
All right, Jonah.
Cheers, lads. I enjoyed that immensely.
All right, guys, that's it from us. So don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and please join the Stoop crew. It costs less than a beer a month for us. We have to split half a beer once a month from each of our Stoop crew members, but it shows that you love what we're doing and you support it. It also gives you access to join our fantasy football league that is for Stoop crew members only. And on the website, on thestupidlolo.com, go there and you can join in on the discussions. We have a bunch of message boards and discussion groups talking about Premier League, talking about fantasy Premier League, and then a private Stoop crew conversation. I can't tell you what we're talking about on there unless you're a Stoop crew member. So join up and also buy some merchandise. There's tons of merchandise out, and buy that stuff and help support Mark and I so we can do
We got
this
a long
full-time.
season ahead of us, you know?
All right. So Mark, season 3, episode 1 in the books.
In the bag.
Peace, y'all.